What's up everybody, Subwoofers fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2014 Honda Accord V6 Coupe with a manual. Huge thanks to Rich for providing me with this very nice Accord Coupe to review for you guys today. So about these cars, well, they're very rare. I've been looking for one of these for a long time, and so I'm very grateful to be able to review one today for you guys. But I think it's a really great looking car. You know, they've really upped the looks here for the new version that just came out in 2013, and this is of course is 14, which looks very much the same. And so you got these really nice headlights now with the LED running lights, and in the back you have very 911 Turbo-esque tail lights, and just a really classy looking back end, especially with the chrome strip there at the bottom, and some really nice chrome pieces here and there that just really set this car off, especially in black, make it look very, very classy. He has an exhaust too, which just adds to that effect. And overall, I think that, you know, it's just a really sleek looking car. I love the body lines on it, and it looks much better, of course, than the sedan, and it looks really great on the road too. Right, for the interior of the Accord V6 Coupe here, it's really nice. I mean, I love these new Honda interiors. They're all really well done. Anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, you have nicely leather perforated seats here that are very comfortable, actually. They're very nice and soft, and you know, the bolstering is a little bit on the relaxed side, but it actually has some pretty good torso support here, and overall, they're really nice seats. They have a good blend of you know, sportiness and comfort, and they're really well done. Next is the steering wheel in the Accord Coupe here, which is really nice. You know, it's smooth leather wrapped here. Really good 9-3 grip, actually. And, you know, you have very tiny little 10-2 notches, but you do have them there. And just overall a nice wheel, you know, not too many buttons, just a few here. And, you know, it has all the things you need and nothing you don't. So overall, pretty good wheel. Next is the gauges in the Accord Coupe, which I think are really nice. They're very similar to the Accord sedan, where they're kind of three-dimensional. You have your speedometer that's kind of coming out towards you there, and then you have your tachometer and the auxiliary gauges there recessed back, and really well done. You know, I think you have a nicely sized tachometer there as well, so nice to have that. And overall, they're pretty good gauges. You know, I wish there was maybe like a color center screen or something. It's just, you know, kind of a more simplistic screen, but still nice to have it nonetheless. And coming along to the center of the dashboard here, this is where you'll find your two other screens. You have a nice large one there up top that would also house your navigation if you had that option. This one does not, so you just have your basic audio controls and things like that. And then this one down here is actually touchscreen, and so you know, you can control all your various audio sources and things like that there. And you know, you still have knobs, which is a good thing, you know. So and they're actually really nicely finished here with this aluminum knurled finish. Is really great. And so overall, pretty high quality. I mean, you do have some plastics here and there that aren't, you know, gleaming with quality, but overall, pretty high quality interior, I think. You know, coming down to the climate controls here, pretty good, you know, just your basic kind of digital thing, automatic, and, you know, gets the job done well with just all the buttons. I wish there was a knob, maybe, you know, you have to constantly hit the up and down to go up and down on your climate, but that's nitpicking. No big deal there. And then coming down to the shifter here, it's kind of interesting. It's a very skinny little shift knob, and, you know, it's a little bit of a longer throw here. We'll have to wait till we get out on the road and see how it actually feels when we're going through the gears. But overall, it's pretty good placement because you can rest your elbow on the armrest here while you're shifting, and it doesn't get in the way. It's out of the way of the cup holders, and so overall, very nice shifter placement. As far as store space in the Accord Coupe here, it's pretty good. So you have a map pocket here in the door, no bottle holder, but you do have a map pocket there, and then coming along to the center here, you have first this little hidden compartment, which you can, you know, fit some small things in there, and then you have this larger cubby right down here, and this is a really appreciated thing by me, is you have the USB and auxiliary jacks right up front here. Most people like throwing those in the center console, console. But I think if you're throwing, you know, your phone or iPod or whatever right here, it's really nice to have that connectivity right there. You also have a power outlet, so a very usable little cubby there. And then you have your 2 cup holders here, which are good. And then you have this center armrest, which is very softly padded, really nice, and it feels great to touch. And then you open that up, and you have a little coin holder there, and you also have another power outlet. And so great to have those. It's a pretty good size. You can fit a good amount of things in there. It's pretty deep. And so overall, good amount of storage space. Backseat space in the Accord Coupe is actually, I think, a little bit smaller than the previous generation. But I think that, you know, with the roofline and whatnot, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But it's your typical coupe backseat. None of them have spectacular room, and this one is no exception. But, you know, I think that would work just fine in a pinch. I wouldn't put someone back there on a regular basis, but it would work, you know, just in a pinch whenever you need a back seat. Trunk space in the Accord Coupe is pretty good. Now, he, of course, has the subwoofers there, so that is not what you would get from the factory. So, of course, he has some compromised trunk space there. But, you know, you can see with that box removed, you would have a good amount of trunk space there. Not the largest trunk out there. I think it actually seems smaller than the sedans, but, you know, a good trunk nonetheless, and should be fine for most things. All right, so let's start and go for a drive. Now, the Accord Coupe here, these new ones just have a keyless start, so you just have the key, and so you just leave that in your pocket and hit the engine start button, and it starts right up. All right, so setting off in the 2014 Honda Accord V6 Coupe. First thing that I notice is the clutch is very light, the shifter is very light, pretty easy to use. The shifter so far, it's a little bit notchy. It's not quite as slick as you get in the Civic Si, but I'll use it a little bit more before I make a judgment. Other things though, visibility is really great. You know, you have a pretty large front windshield here. The dashboard comes up a little bit high. You are sitting a little bit low. Of course, you can change your seating style to suit whatever, you know, you want to go with, but I think it's pretty good. It's not quite as good as I'd say the Civic and things like that as far as visibility, but still pretty good overall. You do have large side windows though. You can see everything out your side. You have a B-pillar there, but it's not too thick, and I don't think it should get in the way too much. You do have these blind spot mirrors as well, in addition to the camera on the passenger side as well, so I mean, really kind of helps you out with your blind spots there, so you don't really have to play too much of a guessing game. Rear visibility is pretty good as well. You know, for a coupe, it's actually better than most, so that's good to have as well. But hey, we're on this bumpy park road, and it's pretty comfortable. Of course, you know, being the Accord Coupe, it's going to have more of a focus on luxury and comfort than the you know, Civic Coupe and other, you know, more sporty coupes, and so you definitely feel that. It's very luxurious, it's very soft, it doesn't really beat you up at all. It's very, very smooth, even on some pretty harsh bumps here. It's smoother than my Mustang, actually, I think. So pretty nice ride, actually, and it's pretty quiet too so far. You don't hear too much road noise or tire noise really, and pretty refined in here. Alrighty, so we're coming up to this back road here, so let's turn onto this back road and see how it does. Here we go. Okay. Wow, this thing is a screamer. That was a surprise. Much better than the old Accord Coupe that I drove. So anyway, we're dealing with 276 horsepower from this 3.5 liter V6 engine and about 252 pound-feet of torque. Wow, that was not what I was expecting. I don't know. Just from the previous Accord Coupe, I did not have high expectations, but that really blew me away. Basically, take the Civic SI's VTEC sensation and the whole front-wheel drive going crazy thing and multiply it by about 3, and that is what this experience felt like. Man, this is punchy too. Lots of torque. I felt a little bit of the front wheels kind of pulling me around with you know, that much power, and I'm going full throttle. But it actually feels really good. The steering is a little looser than I would like, though. I wish it was sharper. I wish there was a sport mode to kind of make it heavier, because it is a little bit numb feeling. But as we're going around corners here, it actually feels pretty buttoned down. I gotta say, you know, we're only running like 235 with tires, so nothing crazy here, and it just seems to feel really like it's got a low center of gravity and feels relatively lightweight. Now we're coming up to this tight corner I always take. Let's see about this body roll. A little bit of lean, but honestly, wow, this is much better than I was expecting. It handles really, really well. I'm impressed. So this car weighs right around 3,400 pounds with the manual here, and you know, it does a pretty good job. We got that MagnaFlow exhaust too, that's a catback, and gives us a little bit of extra sound too that really improves the experience. But let's see about this power again, shall we? Point it straight. Wheel spin like crazy. Got the rev limiter there. It jumps up to that red line quick. Man, this thing likes to lay the tires. I'm using this stick more, and it actually feels really good. You know, it's quick shifting and pretty precise, I gotta say. It's kind of just already become second nature here in 3 minutes of driving, so pretty good there. But I mean, Hondas have always had excellent shifters and you know, been very easy to drive, so this definitely feels like that as well. It's very easy to drive, very comfortable, and it seems to handle really well and everything too. I mean, yes, it's front wheel drive. I know that's always a downside for some people. Obviously, you're not going to have any, you know, kind of drifting or anything like that like you would with a BRZ or a 350Z, 370Z or anything like that. But I don't know, for, you know, people that have to deal with snow and whatnot, this is really still a really fun option, and it's way more exciting. It's just so eager to rev and just so anxious to just absolutely explode. That was way better than I was expecting. Really, really thoroughly impressed. Now I can see why everyone has so much hype around these, because they're so much better than the older versions. Honda has done a really good job. But anyway, I'm going to drive this car around for a little while longer here, and I'll come back and give you some updated impressions. Alright, so I've been driving this car for a little while longer now, and this thing is so impressive. Honda just made this thing a completely different beast here for these new versions. They're just so exciting to drive. I'm still just blown away by just how great they are to drive. And you know, a few things that I've learned since I've been driving it here for a little while longer. It actually handles the torque steer really well. Now, you know, it makes the steering a little numb. The steering, I wish, had more feel to it, more weight. But Honda's always seem to have light steering weight, so that's okay. But it still just doesn't have much feel. I wish it had more. But because it has the lighter feel, you don't get really as much torque steer. I think they kind of engineered some of that out. And to compare this with another car with very similar power, the Ford Focus ST, that has much more torque steer, and that has actually less power from the factory than this does. And yet this actually has less torque steer than that does. That car would actually steer itself right off the road if you didn't pay attention. This won't do that. It's very well dialed in, I guess, and so that's really impressive. I really like, you know, the handling otherwise is pretty good, actually. You know, I've been going around corners here, and it obviously, you feel the weight a little bit more. It's obviously a little heavier than a Civic Si, so it's not quite as playful, and it doesn't dart into corners quite as well as, you know, the Civic Si does. But of course, with this car, you're going for a little bit more of a luxury and refined ride, and for that, it certainly accomplishes that really well, because you know, it's extremely quiet in here. I gotta say, even these roads aren't very well paved, and it's still totally fine. It's pretty quiet, very smooth ride too. Really just feels very luxurious, honestly, and I think that it's actually a smoother ride than some of the German luxury cars. But this engine is so glorious. And we got traffic. I'm going to slow down just a little bit just to give you guys a taste of this engine. This engine reminds me of the old Honda engines that really love to just rip in the upper RPM band and give you that different, like, cam sound. This is only single overhead cam, by the way, but it sounds like a totally different beast whenever you're over like $5 grand. I'll show you right now. See, it's got that switch over right around 5,000. It gets that extra growl from the intake and whatnot, and it really sounds good. And with this MagnaFlow exhaust as well, it really sounds awesome. It's so quick to rev. It's just exciting to drive with the way that it, you know, gains engine speed so quickly, and it's fast too, by the way. I mean, I think they said these are right under 6 seconds for the 0 to 60 time, so, you know, plenty fast car by any measure, really. And just sounds really good. Oh man. And it's just, it's you have the Honda reliability. You know, this thing will probably run forever. Everything is higher quality now on the interior as well, and overall just a really good package. And I can see why everyone loves these now. I really can, because before I was not getting it with the older ones. These new ones, completely different animal, completely different, and it just pulls from any gear, any RPM. I mean, it jumped up speed quick there, and I'm only in, you know, third gear, and it just flies. But man, oh man, what a car. Yeah, and especially when you think about the price of these too, that, you know, they're relatively affordable for what you get as well, and really well equipped for the price. Pretty compelling argument here. So yeah, really like it a lot. Now I know a lot of people cross shop these with things like the FRS and, you know, BRZ and stuff like that, or even WRXs and whatnot, and they're all going to completely handled differently because this is front-wheel drive, and it's really the only car in this class. You know, the only other thing you really compete against is stuff like the Volkswagen GTI and stuff like that, but they're not coupes anyway, so it's really has no competition. And so I think it's impressive that Honda has even put this much effort into it, but you can tell they've really gone through this and made it really exciting from an enthusiast standpoint. And just, I love driving this thing. I just want to keep driving it. It's really punchy. It just, and that sound is really great. I love that V6. It's just, oh man, yeah. Having a lot of fun on this one. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the Honda Accord coupes here, and your thoughts on these newer ones. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Huge thanks once again to Rich for allowing me to review this today. I'm really glad I got to drive this because it's completely changed my perspective on these new Accord coupes. Totally an enthusiast car, totally absolutely fun car to drive. Really great car in just about every way, and yeah, can't find a single thing wrong with it, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.